although they do take a heck of a lot of threes. Good percentage, what is it, 47? Something like that. The sounding number of their percentage of their shots come from behind the arc. There really isn't anyone on this team that makes them in a good clip. They're going to come out firing. Competition's going to limit those opportunities for them. But yeah, this is a team that if Michigan comes out and plays their game, they're going to play safer, like style basketball, defensive battle. I got to say, if Michigan is going to get the defensive battle, I trust their defense.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the 2019 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championships. Today's second round game features the Wolverines and Gators and the Michigan Wolverines.
To watch here is going to be
starting lineups.
Brosdakis at the 4 going up against Keontae Johnson. Keontae, very athletic at the 4, he's 6'5", 225, so it's a pretty natural matchup size-wise. It's not a natural matchup for Michigan in their last matchup. It's very strange for them to get a lot of cross matching going on there. Here, I think he's going to be able to play straight up against a guy this size. Keontae's going to have an edge in the athleticism. Iggy really going to have to put out there on the defensive end. He's really, of the 5 Michigan starters, he's been the guy that's
a 6'6"
good matchup.
Chicago Bulls. Number 1, Charles Matthews.
For these two teams, Michigan starting their usual 5.
At center for a 6'9" senior from Flagler, Florida. Number 13, Bavarius. At center for Bavarius, 7'1"
Hayes is their 5 rating. Noah Locke off the bench.
At guard for Florida, 6'6" Michigan from Richmond, Virginia.
Went hard after
Number 3, Jalen At guard for Michigan, 6'5" sophomore from Milwaukee. Number 2, Jordan. At guard for Florida, 16 senior from the Clark, Arkansas.
almost
5, Gilbert. And in
Matthews, Brzdakis, Simpson all waiting. And the tip-off is won back by Kavarius Hayes. And so Andrew Nemhard holds the ball to control. Hayes stands at the top of the key, hands it off to Nemhard. His bounce pass. Hayes goes to the rack, lays it up. No, good defense from John Teske. Brzdakis pulls it down. Simpson dribbles it up. He's got Iggy on the wing. Gets a small screen from Teske. Then Brzdakis drives. Baseline to the rack. Throw it down. And so the Michigan Wolverines on the board first, 2-0. Now baseline pass for Kavarius Hayes, too low.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here, great start for Michigan. Sorry, we're working on some technical difficulties here. Hopefully, got everything sounding good, but love the hot start from the Wolverines here, coming out, getting into the paint, making things happen early that way. That's going to be a great way to build the offense here in the early going.
Simpson dribbles around, passes it out to Matthews. To Brzdakis on the wing, he's got Teske, and they go back to Iggy. Open three, he left that one way short. Good contested defense there on the perimeter from Kevon Allen. Dribbling inside is Nemhard, he lost it, and then reclaims it, passes it out to the point. Gators force a lot of turnovers on the defensive end, and turnovers were a problem from them on the offensive end too when Nevada began pressing really hard in the second half of that game on Thursday. There's a shot from three that rims in and rims out. Michigan grabs down the rebound. Florida still scoreless. 2-0 Wolverines, almost 2 minutes in, and Poole turns it over. That's going to be an issue. Hedging on those screens. Florida able to produce a turnover. They swing to the wing. It's Jalen Hudson. He hits the three. Hudson's been an interesting character this year for Florida. He started at barely 20% from three. He's gotten up to about 40% for the last couple months. He was 3 of 7 in the game on Thursday, and he puts Florida ahead 3-2. And he was an excellent three-point shooter a year ago. You can't play him like he's that bad. There's Teske! Simpson with a little wraparound bounce pass to Teske in the paint, and now Michigan, their second slam dunk, back on top 4-3.
Not often you see a guy with that drastic of a change mid-season. I don't know if he had some kind of lagging injury throughout the year that it needed to be adjusted or fixed, but he's playing like a lights-out shooter lately.
Hudson gets the ball back on the wing, guarded by Poole. That'll be an interesting matchup to watch now on the perimeter. And driving inside there was Keontae Johnson. They're going to put the foul on Brzdakis. Certainly looked like it.
And Iggy trying to talk to the referee about it, but that's a blocking foul. He just did not get his feet over quick enough, and that's going to be a problem for him all day here. Johnson is an athletic guy. He's got a quick burst and first step, certainly quicker than Iggy, and that's going to earn him a trip to the bench here. That's John Beilein style.
Isaiah Livers into the game. Nemhard comes off the screen with the ball, going to kick it out to Keontae Johnson, open for three, and he knocks it down. So the Gators start 2 for 2 from beyond the arc and take an early 6-4 lead. Just about 3 minutes in, you have to worry about those shooters on the perimeter. Simpson gets a little screen from Teske, now kicks to Livers, back to Simpson. He's going to dribble inside, throws on the brakes, hands it off to Livers, gets a back screen from Simpson, and they go right back to him. 8 on the shot clock. Simpson dribbles in the paint, finds Teske again for another jam.
Love the strong finish from John Teske there. Went up with 2 hands, knew he couldn't just lay it in, and Hayes came over, had a good contest there. If John Teske doesn't go up that strong, he may have gotten that one swapped.
Yep. Michigan pounding the paint early on. Hudson with the ball on the outside. He's going to dribble into the paint. Floater, too strong off the heel, tipped around, down on the floor, picked up by Kavarius Hayes. Matthews traps him in the corner, finds an open shooter on the wing, in and out. Simpson able to grab the rebound. It was Kevon Allen on the wing missing that shot. Simpson leads the charge, then throws on the brakes, going to do the pick and roll with Teske again, decides not to. Pass to Poole and then got it right back. Simpson dribbles with a double team. Teske finds Matthews. Matthews cuts to the rack, lost the ball, gets it back, puts it off the glass, and it goes. You can see the active hands for Florida there trying to force turnovers, but Michigan just sure-handed enough to finish that one off and reclaim the 8-6 edge, making 3 of their last 3 from the field, all right in the paint.
And I love to see Charles Matthews picking up where he left off there against Montana, getting into the paint, not settling for the fadeaway jumper, getting all the way there for the easy lay-in.
Kevon Allen to Kavarius Hayes in the paint. Now Matthews gets in there trying to force a turnover, and now the ball's loose. Poole picks it up. He's got a one-on-one fast break against Nemhard. He goes to the rack, flips it up. No, Matthews grabs the offensive rebound. Now it's out of bounds. They say off Florida. It sure looked off Michigan, but it also looked like there could have been a foul on Florida.
Yeah, that's definitely one right there. They're fighting for the ball. That had to have gone off Charles Matthews last. Maybe the ref was just giving Michigan the benefit of the doubt for missing that foul. But right before that, Jordan Poole in transition, going up to the rim, does not use the glass, and then that's what's going to happen to you. If you're out of control with a guy breathing down your neck and you elect to not go with the glass, you're just not going to have the proper amount of touch. And right there, easy 2 points missed for the Wolverines from Jordan Poole.
Well, 8-6 our score at the 15-18 remaining mark of the first half. Pretty fast-paced in the early going. Michigan shooting 67% from the field, Florida 33%, but the 2 3-pointers, the difference for allowing Florida to be a bit closer. 2 turnovers for the Gators, 1 for the Wolverines. These are 2 defenses that are probably going to force quite a few turnovers off each other. You'd like to see Michigan not turn the ball over that much. They're very good at not doing that, but against a great turnover producing defense like Florida, there's still going to be some.
Absolutely, and Xavier Simpson, so sure-handed with the ball normally. He's got a very tough matchup in Nemhard. He's a freshman, but he stands at 6'5". Not a whole lot of guys at that position with that kind of length who are also able to stay in front of you. Not a tough, or not an easy matchup for the shorter Xavier Simpson. And another thing Florida does very well is they switch into zone defense, and really they don't need to call a timeout break to set it up. They will just get a call from the head coach and kind of move into it seamlessly, and it's going to be up to the Michigan offense to diagnose that problem if it arises and be able to adjust on the fly, which is always a really tough ask.
Absolutely. We look around the stadium. There's still some empty seats, especially in the lower bowl. Those will fill in as we get closer to the big draw of the night, which is Michigan State, Minnesota. We expect a huge Gopher crowd again tonight, as there was in the game on Thursday. This crowd is pretty impartial because you got a lot of Minnesota folks who don't really care about this. Just one small section of Michigan fans with some other yellow scattered around, and then one tiny group of Florida fans, and that's about it in terms of rooting interests for this game.
And still lots of empty seats here.
Yep.
Definitely expect those to be filled in by Gopher fans. And the way that the building was rocking here on Thursday, there's no two ways about it. The Minnesota fans showed up. They showed up ready to cheer on their team. I'm gonna expect them to have the crowd at their back. That's not gonna be easy for Michigan State. They're gonna be playing a road game here.
Yeah. This one between Michigan and Florida is for a ticket to Anaheim, California for the West Regional Sweet 16 game next week. They'll play the winner. The winner of this game will play the winner of Buffalo, Texas Tech, which will take place tomorrow in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Neither team really a great, neither one you really want to see.
Yep. A lot of strong squads in the West. Michigan inbounding, they get it in to Teske. Simpson gets the ball back. He's got 20 on the shot clock, so Michigan can run their offense. Gets a small screen from Teske. Here comes a double team. Gets it back to him. They find Poole wide open for three. He's fouled, and he makes it. The bad closeout by Florida got way too close to him. Smacked him on the hand, and then the shot dropped. So the potential 4-point play coming for Jordan Poole as he's got a free throw on the way. Closing out there was Keontae Johnson, who got lost and then was far too aggressive to try to recover.
Well, and Johnson was the one closing out. It was actually Livers' man. I was almost going to criticize Jordan Poole there for not kicking it over, making the extra pass to Livers, but tough to complain about that play right there.
Poole, a very good free throw shooter, swishes the extra, so Michigan gets 4 points off that possession and lead 12-6, their largest lead of the game, just under 15 minutes remaining. Early stages of this round of 32 contest from Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa. Andrew Nemhard throws it across to Jalen Hudson. Charles Matthews guards Hudson beautifully and forces a miss. Simpson grabs down the rebound. Gators do great work to get back, but they find Livers open on the wing for three. Oh boy, missed that one short and wide. And Florida grabs down the rebound.
Not something you're used to seeing out of Isaiah Livers. That ball must have slipped out of his hands because that was a line drive right into the corner.
Pump fake shot there for Florida is off the mark, and rebound by Simpson. Jordan Poole a little tardy to close out on Noah Locke on the right wing side, but Michigan fortunate to get bailed out by that shot being off the mark. Teskey holds the ball outside the arc, gives it, or is going to give it to Matthews, decided to pass to Simpson instead, who curls to Matthews to the corner. Jordan Poole's going to shoot his shot again, and he swishes it.
That was good defense right there from Locke. He was right in Jordan Poole's grill, but that 4-point play obviously has got Jordan Poole feeling himself. He looks very comfortable out there.
And just like that, it's an 11-0 Michigan run over the last almost 3 minutes. Nemhard throws into the paint. That'll end the run. Kavarius Hayes throws it down. Nice feed from Andrew Nemhard, who has the makings of what could be a very good point guard in the future. 5-star caliber guy. He's been kind of, baptism by fire in a very tough SEC as a true freshman, but he's got a lot of potential, a lot of chance to get a lot better. Poole open three again. That one a little too strong. Livers tips it around, but able to grab the rebound was Keontae Johnson. Michigan's open 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. Now they find Locke open for three, and he swishes it.
And now Florida getting into that zone. We mentioned earlier, looks like a 1-3-1 with Johnson up at the top with all that length and athleticism. He's going to pressure these Michigan passing lanes.
Extra pass to find Livers, and his little jumper, there's going to be a foul underneath on Noah Locke, who pushed off on John Teskey as Livers had missed that one. So that'll be a second team foul on Florida, only one on Michigan. That one was on Brisdakis, who continues to sit. Teskey will get a small breather, and Colin Castleton comes into the game. He only played about a minute or two in the game on Thursday night. Had been seeing steadily increasing minutes towards the end of the regular season into the Big Ten tournament, but John Beilein rolling with his best players with the season on the line.
Yeah, well, didn't really need the extra size from Castleton against Montana either.
Almost weird play where Matthews almost lost it across the midline for an over and back. He was able to save it to Simpson.
His foot crossed the line there.
Simpson gets it into Castleton. Double team, tried to pass it to Livers. That'll go out of bounds off the Gators. That's a good call.
Well, that one was.
Yeah. And we've had a couple rough calls by the officials going in favor of Michigan early going, but that one was a good one. Wolverines will inbound with 15 on the shot clock. They get it into Castleton, hands it off to Simpson. They get a perfect screen to set up Poole. He dribbles inside. His floater is off the mark, a little short. Florida grabs down the rebound. That zone a little tricky at the current moment. Nemhard runs into trouble, gives it to Jalen Hudson. He takes a three with Poole right in his face, and he banks it in. And just like that, the Gators on an 8-0 run of their own. Jalen Hudson has opened the game 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. That shot was perfectly contested and was way too strong, but was dead on the money, and so it went in. Simpson pulls up from 3. He knocks it down. So a game that was expected to be defense, seeing a lot of good three-point shooting early on. Michigan 3 of 6, Florida 4 of 7.
It looks like Florida switched to the zone, almost daring.
Oh, and Simpson steals it from Nemhard. He takes it away. He's got Livers behind him, and then it gets kicked off his foot and out of bounds. He needs to pass that ball.
Wow. What a wild sequence there. Xavier with an absolutely picture-perfect pocket pick. And, yeah, the ball poked out of his hand, kicked. It looked like he almost punted that one up into the stands there.
And Nemhard is all over him at the start, but then Nemhard gets back into good guarding position, and it looked like Simpson was just trying to draw contact there. He needs to slow that down.
Yep.
I always hate it when you have the one-on-ones and the guy's right there.
Especially when Simpson had about a foot height disadvantage there.
Yeah.
It's not a matchup he's normally going to win one-on-one, and yeah, Nemhard didn't even poke that ball. He just stood there, hands straight up in the air. Good defense. Simpson simply lost the ball, and I can see now besides that transition sequence, Michigan here in the half court starting to struggle a little bit against that Florida zone. It seems like they're trying to sit back in the zone, forcing Michigan to take perimeter shots. Michigan was feasting in the paint there early to start until the zone has got them out of sorts here, just a little bit.
Well, and Florida's a team that has the potential to switch everything, which also really is a problem for Michigan. So it's not great matchups for either team. What I will say is that I think Michigan early going got better three-point looks than Florida has. Florida's made some tough shots, especially that last three-pointer they made by Jalen Hudson.
Yeah, it was... they're just making their threes right now. There's not a whole lot you can do when you're right in a guy's face and he banks it from straight away. I don't think he called bank on that one.
No. Yeah, that one was just put too much mustard on it and then got a little help from the glass and it goes down. Michigan shooting 54% from the field. Florida shooting 45% from the field. Florida's shot 7 of their 11 attempts from behind the arc. They've been sort of having to rely on that because Michigan's locked down the paint pretty well early on. One loss play with Kavarius Hayes, who dunked it. Other than that, Michigan's attacked it well.
And they are doing kind of what we've seen out of MSU this year. They're running the pick and roll, and that is springing some open shooters here. Michigan has come out in that hard hedge on the ball screen. Whoever is defending the guy in the corner has to come over and help on the roll man, and then that's leaving that guy open in the corner. And Florida, and they clearly have watched their tape. They've seen Michigan struggle against MSU that way, and a big reason why MSU was able to exploit that is because Cash Winston was so fantastic at finding whoever was open, finding the open guy on the perimeter, and getting the ball to him in a timely manner. And Nembhard has that same kind of ability. He's been doing it so far here.
As we're getting out of the under 12 timeout, it is worth noting that about a 6-minute stretch there where Michigan was without Iggy Brzdakis, and they were able to survive offensively. He's back onto the floor. A big shot by Xavier Simpson, able to kind of carry this so it didn't get ugly offensively. But then the tough turnover there, the other end. Florida 3 turnovers, Michigan 2. Nembhard dribbles the ball up, 18-14 Michigan, under 12 minutes remaining in the first half. Nembhard, nice little switch. And an open shot for Jalen Hudson. He leaves it way short, and we're going to have an offensive foul underneath the basket. It's going to go against number 21, Dante Bassett. Florida really only plays about 8 players in their rotation, so these teams not terribly deep. Bassett and Isaiah Stokes are their 2 bigs off the bench. Locke, their 1 guard off the bench. Teskey delivers to Eli Brooks. They've got Simpson in the corner, letting Brooks run it for a minute. Livers comes off the screen. He takes a 3 that's short, gets his own rebound, though, and able to cycle it back out. Fresh 30, and Simpson can set things up once again. Gets a soft screen from Teskey, finds him open. Teskey for 3. That one short. Livers with another offensive rebound. Michigan extending this possession thanks to some long rebounds that are coming out to the tall and lanky Isaiah Livers. Eli Brooks to the basket, lays it up with the left hand and in.
Oh boy, what a fantastic display of effort there by Isaiah Livers, not giving up on any of those shots, getting the rebounds there, giving Michigan enough opportunities for Eli Brooks. How about the aggression going inside for the little guy?
There's Noah Locke open for 3, and he knocks it in. Florida now 5 of 9 from beyond the arc. That's just too easy. Locke wide open, and he puts it in. Now Livers is going to have an open 3 of his own, and he can't make that one. Brzdakis underneath, battling for it, and couldn't come down with it. Livers is way off again to start this game. He really struggled against Montana. And now the ball is loose. Brzdakis almost take it away, but then got redirected to Kevon Allen. 20-17, Michigan, the 10-minute mark. A lot of scoring so far. Now dribbling down low and turning around was Allen to find Locke outside. Pump fake around Simpson. He stepped back, and the shot is wide. It goes out of bounds to the Wolverines.
Now Michigan coming back down, going against this 1-3-1 zone. I'd like to see them take something inside the arc here. There again, Livers had an open 3-point shot there on the left wing, but he had guys going to close out on him. And if he decided to pump fake and go by that guy, and Michigan's essentially playing a 3-on-1.
So here comes the zone again. Brooks in some trouble, has to pass it to Matthews. They go down low. Teskey slings it. Brooks, Simpson, Matthews. Florida and their length closing out very well here. Not able to find those passing lanes. Now Matthews drives baseline, turns around his fadeaway jumper. Not quite able to get it to go. That's that tough mid-range fall away that he likes to take. Couldn't get it to fall. Nemhard drives in the paint, kicks it out for Noah Locke. Brzdakis locking him down, and then over to Nemhard. Nemhard passes to find Keontae Johnson. Johnson to Bassett. They've got Nemhard posting up Simpson underneath. Nemhard goes up, his shot no, but then Bassett follows it up. Teskey decided to help rather than box out, and that allowed the easy putback for Bassett, and it's back to a 1-point Michigan lead. Simpson to Brooks. That zone for Florida coming up again. The traps, they go to Teskey underneath, back to Brzdakis in the corner. His shot is off the mark, and Florida is able to save it. 9 minutes remaining in the first half.
There again, Michigan settling for outside shots, and they are getting some stuff going inside the lane. Really not enough off-ball movement. They're zipping the ball around. They're passing it well. That's a ball movement. They need a little bit more player movement. Guys cutting and getting into those open lanes.
Allen guarded by Simpson. Simpson checking him well. He gets lost in the paint. Looked like a travel. That shot is off the mark. Teskey pulls it down. Michigan's been playing some good defense the last few minutes, but they're 0 of their last 4, and 1 of their last 7. Haven't scored in almost 3 minutes. Kick, Matthews on the wing. That one is no good, but he is fouled. Tough closeout there from Florida. And that's the thing with the zone. When you're facing a zone defense, there's pretty much always open threes.
Yep.
And if a team can knock them down, then it doesn't really matter and the zone gets busted. But if you can't shoot over it, then it becomes really, really bad.
And especially for a team like Michigan that is not prolific from behind the arc. They are at their best when they're going to the rim, getting shots in the paint, and they're looking all too ready to settle for those outside shots. And that's why Florida's out here in the zone. They want Michigan taking those kinds of shots.
So Matthews stands at the line. He'll get 3 free throws as the officials confirmed upon replay, and Matthews leaves the first one short as the Gator band really fired up, doing a big scream right as he releases the ball. The second for Matthews is good. At about 65%, you'd expect him to make 2 of 3, so if he knocks this one down, it's right on line with his average.
How about what the Florida band there was just doing? I don't think I've ever seen a shot clock fake out as a guy shooting a free throw.
Yeah, they're very active over there.
About half the band is wearing these neon orange cowboy hats. It's a sharp look.
And the last for Matthews is too strong, so he only gets 1 of 3. Michigan now leaving a bit to be desired at the free throw line. 2 of 4 on the day and a 2-point Wolverine lead. Michigan still in a bit of offensive funk right now. Nemhard kicks to the corner. Now dribbling inside was Allen. He kicked back out to Locke. Florida's been settling for a lot of threes and a lot of tough shots too. Locke's now in the block against Poole. Fadeaway jumper, silky smooth to tie the game. That's good defense and an even better make.
Yeah, speaking of Florida settling for tough shots, that's one right there. And good work by Poole to keep Locke out of the paint. If he's hitting that one, you just got to tip your cap.
Florida fans going wild right now. Poole, dangerous pass to Simpson. They get it back to Poole, wide open from 3. And that one just not strong enough, and now Livers is going to get called for an over the back. And we go to the under 8 timeout. Our score, Michigan 21, Florida 21, 7:18 remaining.
We have an official timeout.
And I understand wanting to shoot an open three-point shot. When you're as open as Jordan Poole was right there, it's tough to pass it up. But when you're that open, that means you also have a lane to drive in towards the basket. And when you have gone this cold, Michigan has not had a field goal in nearly 4 minutes now. 1 of their last 8, 0 for their last 5. When you're on that cold of a streak, you got to get something going towards the basket and get some higher or more high percentage looks.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And this is the thing with this Michigan offense that we know is that they pretty much in every single game are very much prone to these long scoring slumps. They pretty much happen whether Michigan is even playing well or not. It's just a function of the way they play. And Michigan shooting 38% from the field. They started really strong, but then that 1 of 8 trend has brought Michigan down from 7 of 13 to 8 of 21. Florida shooting a solid 8 of 18, 5 of 10 for 3. That's been a big difference for them. Not too many turnovers, only 5 combined between the two teams.
Yeah, Michigan really hasn't played terribly against the zone. I normally let when a team comes out in the 1-3-1, guys start getting a little too fancy with their passes, trying to throw across court, and then they get picked off, and it leads to easy buckets going the other way. Michigan has done a great job to limit that. They're making the easy pass. They're finding open guys, simply not making shots. I can't say they're really playing bad offense here. They're just missing open shots. I would like to see them still, though, get in the paint, get some more high percentage looks.
$7:18 remaining in the first half as these two teams in a long commercial timeout.
Now Florida here shooting a stellar clip from behind the arc. They're 5 of 10 so far. Can't imagine that trend is going to continue here for too much longer. They're gonna have to start missing some eventually. And Michigan, so far, their defense has looked solid. They're not forcing a lot of turnovers. They're still forcing Florida to take tough shots. Florida's simply making them.
Yeah, Florida is hitting some open shots. They're also hitting some tough shots. Michigan isn't really doing much of anything right now. These two teams pretty darn even at this juncture. And the interesting thing is Michigan 50% from 2. Florida, on the other hand, only 37.5% from 2. Michigan's defense overall, I think, has been pretty good. You have to be happy with that. You tip your cap when they make tough shots, but right now I think in the huddle with John Beilein, it's got to be all offensive talk right now.
Sure is, and now Michigan taking Teskey back out of the game. They're going to go with Livers at the 5. Maybe their defense will struggle that way, but I do not mind this counter at all. And Michigan needs more offense, more shooting out on the court.
Yep.
Putting Livers at the 5 is an easy way to do that.
Gives them more versatility to stretch around. So here comes Florida out of the timeout. They've taken Nemhard off the floor. Keontae Johnson is a distributor right now. He drives around Brisdakis, runs into traffic. He's in a lot of trouble. Now has to try and kick it out, and they're going to call a foul on Simpson on a reach-in. That's only the 3rd foul for Michigan, first on Simpson. Florida only has 4. This has been a very clean first half.
Well, that's going to happen when both teams have shot double-digit three-pointers. Hasn't been a whole lot of contact inside the paint.
And we've got a kick on the inbound, so Florida will do it again. 7:01 remaining in the first half. Game tied at 21. Jalen Hudson inbounded it in. Kavarius Hayes hands it off to Kevon Allen, who's continually had Simpson just right on him. Gets a small screen from Hayes, and a double team comes, and they find Hayes underneath. Not sure why Livers decided to double that, and Hayes lays it in.
That's clearly a miscommunication, and even if Livers were not to double team that one, he's normally going to come out and hedge. He's going to need somebody to come over and help anyway. That was Charles Matthews' job, simply was not there.
Simpson dribbles right around. He goes up for the layup and lays it in off the high glass. In a 23-23 tie. 6:20 remaining in the first half.
Oh, great work by Simpson. That's only his 2nd shot attempt here so far. He made that 3 earlier. Has not been looking for his own shot. He's been a willing passer, but maybe he's going to need to be a little bit more aggressive to get this offense going.
Noah Locke with it outside. Get some help coming from Johnson. Guarded well by Matthews. Locke drives in, throws on the brakes, tipped up in the air by Simpson. 3 on the shot clock. Locke goes down low, didn't get a shot off as Hudson threw it up and into the basket, but after the shot clock had expired. So Michigan forces a 4th turnover and takes back over with the ball. Tied at 23, 5:50 to go in the first half. John Teske back onto the floor. Beeline not too happy with that defensive effort from Isaiah Livers.
Yeah, and that possession right there was just a fantastic individual effort by Charles Matthews.
Yep. Brzdakis finds Simpson open outside, doesn't want to shoot it as Nemhard has come back in, and Simpson-Nemhard matched up. Teske comes in to help. He's got him open, couldn't quite find him. Brzdakis, great pump fake into the lane. His floater is too strong, and Florida the rebound.
Well, that one doesn't go, but I like to see the pump fake and go there for Michigan.
Kavarius Hayes is blocked by Brzdakis, who then grabs it himself and starts a fast break the other way. Matthews has it stripped, but it'll go out of bounds off the Gators, and Michigan will inbound. That is a great defensive block by Iggy Brzdakis.
Yeah, Iggy, not a defensive stalwart by any means, but so far here he's done a pretty good job. He has the one block. He's had a couple of good defensive moments, just able to keep his feet moving, stay in front of guys. Right there, just had 2 hands up in the air, really didn't have to swat that one. He was just in the right defensive position.
Now I say we have some moisture on the floor, or actually on the ball. They've got a towel out, and they're toweling off the ball before it is handed to Simpson. He'll have the duties of the inbound. Michigan is one of their last 7 from the field. They get it into Brzdakis, over to Matthews, gives it to Simpson. Simpson's going to try to cut. Now Matthews to the rack, lay it up, and lay it in. There's Charles Matthews, staying strong.
Yeah, that's what Michigan needs out of Charles Matthews. Looking very reminiscent of last year's tournament run is Charles Matthews right now.
Nemhard in some trouble, throws up a shot. It's loose. Now Michigan's got a potential 3-on-2 as they grab the rebound. Poole and Simpson are away. Simpson lays it up and lays it in. Michigan restores a 4-point edge, 27-23 off that fast break. That was tough defense by Simpson on Nemhard to force the bad miss. And then Michigan just out in transition well. Hudson holds it for Florida. Kavarius Hayes with the ball. Already 15 on the shot clock. Nemhard pulls up from 3, and he cans it. Florida Gators just shooting the lights out from beyond the arc. He had maybe a foot behind the screen to go up with that one, and he knocks it in. 6 of 11 now from the Gators. Simpson finds Brzdakis open on the baseline. In traffic, double team, goes up, no. Teske can't tip it in. That's the issue that Brzdakis creates at times. And now Nemhard goes right by him, and there's going to be a reach-in foul on Jordan Poole, and we go to the under 4 timeout.
Yeah, Iggy giving up a lot of athleticism at that matchup there. It was not in good position either to go up for an offensive rebound, and coming back the other way lets the man go by him, and Jordan Poole, kind of a bad foul there, but I guess when a guy's got an open lane to the basket, you really have no choice but to reach over and swipe.
And neither team is terribly close to the bonus. Only 4 fouls on each team with just under 4 minutes remaining in the half. Well, it remains an interesting conundrum because Florida is shooting 4 of 11 on 2s and really have not gotten many good looks from 2. Haven't gotten many good looks from 3, but they're 6 of 11 from beyond the arc. And Michigan leads 27-26 at this juncture.
You know that shooting a lot of volume from 3 is part of their identity, but looks like Michigan's content to let them take them. And I honestly don't hate the strategy. I mean, they have hit them exceptionally well here so far, but a team's not going to shoot over 50% from 3 on the game. You'd think eventually here, most likely in the second half, Florida is not going to keep hitting these 3s.
Well, and the interesting thing is that Florida entered this game as a pretty dismal 33.5% shooting team from beyond the arc. If they were shooting their season average, Michigan would be up 10.
Yep. And it doesn't happen, you know, some teams come out, they have hot games from 3, but And so far, I'm liking Michigan's defensive effort. They're not necessarily giving up easy threes. It's just been one of those games.
Yep, and if you continue playing good defense, eventually you expect them to cool off. But Michigan's offense does need to be better moving forward.
Yeah, and Michigan's starting to pick it up here on offense. Getting more stuff going towards the rim. I would like to see them maybe make more three-pointers throughout this game, but I like that they have recognized they're not exactly hot from behind the arc right now. They got to get in the paint, and you need guys like Charles Matthews and Xavier Simpson to step up, be aggressive, kind of take matters into their own hands, and that's what they've done here over the last couple of minutes.
Well, tournament games are never easy, and even ones that you think might be a walk in the park sometimes turn into real grind-em-out type affairs.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone here expected a walk in the park against Florida for Michigan. This is a team that played a tough schedule. They came out, they beat a good Nevada team, everyone thought, or at least a lot of people thought, would make a run in the tournament. They're loaded with offensive talent, but Florida was just able to stifle them really nearly across the board. And just I expected, I don't know if you can call this a grind-em-out kind of game here, as high-scoring as it's been, or at least relative to both teams' regular output. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough one here, an exciting finish, I'm guessing.
So, out of the timeout, 3:50 remaining in the first half. Nemhard to inbound on the baseline. Simpson will guard the inbounder, and they're ready to go. Nemhard's in some trouble, needs to get it out, and he barely does. Finds Locke outside, guarded by Matthews now, who switched on to him.
Unfortunate for Michigan there. Jordan Poole fell asleep. Hudson was able to get an open look underneath the basket. He was wide open under the basket due to a backdoor cut.
Hudson takes a jumper and misses it. Simpson, a tenacious rebound there. Gets a small screen from Teskey, finds Poole. Poole dribbles into the lane. Floater, no, but Teskey the tap out. And Simpson's able to corral the offensive rebound. Good strong play there from John Teskey to create a second chance look. Simpson gets a small screen. Continues to dribble with it. Really good defense being applied. They hit Matthews. Matthews dribbles through the paint. Drives to the lane and throws it down.
That's Charles Matthews at his best, going up using his NBA length and athleticism to hammer it down in the paint. Wow, that's just a tremendous play there from Charles.
Michigan up 3, under 3 minutes remaining in the half. They go into Nemhard in the post. They've done that once before, posting up Simpson, and he runs into trouble again. Now flings it out to Hudson, guarded by Livers. 7 on the shot clock. Hudson trying to cross over Livers, then take him to the rack. Flips it up, no. Rebound, John Teskey. That's good defense by Livers on a guy who's a couple inches shorter than him. Simpson dribbling with Teskey. Tried to find him inside, and they're going to get Simpson for a travel.
And Simpson switched the pivot foot there. That's a pretty easy one to call.
Yep. So Florida will inbound. That's now 4 turnovers, or actually 4 turnovers on Florida, 3 on Michigan. Both teams have all their timeouts. Nemhard's got to get it up, and barely did. Gave it over to Locke. Now he holds it right on that big March Madness logo in the court in Wells Fargo Arena. Hudson to Nemhard. He goes around to screen. Double teamed. Teskey came over to help. And an easy alley-oop lay-in there for Kavarius Hayes. John Beilein flings his arms up into the air. That's the second time now that Michigan has been burned. First it was Livers, now it's Teskey. Not sure why there is help on those plays. And Teskey, an alley-oop for Poole, with Poole. And Poole, not a good pass there, and Michigan turns it over again. Nemhard has it stripped, but then they're going to get Teskey for a foul.
Well, Charles Matthews didn't like the call, kind of stomped after that. The ref nearest to him kind of eyeballed him. I was a little worried.
And John Beilein is yelling at the referees. Had to be escorted back to his bench. I will say this has not been NCAA refereeing's finest hour in this first half. And there have been calls that have gone to hurt both sides. Nemhard with the ball. Florida trailing Michigan by 1, 29-28, 95 seconds remaining in the first half. Simpson almost stripped it. as Nemhard went into the paint, kicks it out, lock open for three. Missed that one, and Teskey pulls it down. Michigan fortunate to be bailed out on a wide open look there from Noah Locke. Livers is wide open in the paint, and Simpson didn't see him. Would have been a dangerous pass to execute, too. Florida's length can deny those entry passes. Simpson dribbles around Teskey, kicks. He's got Livers wide open in the corner. Bang! And a 32-28 Michigan lead. Livers finally connects, and Michigan back on the good side of the three-point arc. 4-point lead, and Mike White's going to take a timeout with exactly 60 seconds remaining in the first half.
And there you see what happens when you start getting stuff going off dribble penetration. Xavier drives into the paint. He's been dangerous attacking the rim here so far. Forces the Florida defense to collapse. He finds Isaiah Livers wide open. You're not going to find a more open look there in the corner. Buries that one easily.
Well, 32-28 Michigan. With exactly 1 minute remaining, you feel like this is a crucial final minute of the half. Determines momentum heading into the break. If Michigan could pad their lead up to 6 or 7, that would be very different than a tie game.
Yep, and there are a lot of moments here at the end of the first half that really swing momentum in a drastic way. I really can't overstate how much it means to go into the break with a, rather than a tie game, a 7-point game. It's especially the way that this first half has gone, where it's been a tough battle.
Yeah.
To just know you have that cushion coming out in the second half allows your team to play with a lot less stress, a little more free, more naturally.
Yeah, Florida wearing the away blues today with the orange stripes on the side. Michigan wearing the home whites as they do in the early rounds of the tournament before they switch to the maize. If they punch their ticket to Anaheim tonight, we would likely see those next week. A look around college basketball. 2 teams have already sealed their trips to the Sweet 16 at this point in time. LSU did so today against Maryland in what was an absolutely crazy game. We watched all of that one. Tremendous finish. Tremont Waters laid it in with, I believe, was a 1 second remaining.
1.4.
Yeah, 1.4 to push the Tigers into the Sweet 16. They will play the winner of the next game here tonight, Minnesota-Michigan State. The other team was Kentucky. They beat a very scrappy Wofford Terriers team who gave them a run for their money, able to survive and advance.
So far, it's been a good round of 32.
Yeah, it has. 2 good games in the early going, and this one looks pretty strong so far. A lot of games tonight. That's when the bulk of the Saturday round of 32 action is. It's
really odd to me that there are so many games on Thursday and Friday during the middle of the day on work days.
Yeah.
And then once you get to the weekend, none of the action starts until later in the night. Seems like it'd be an all-day affair on Saturday. I don't quite get that. And there's definitely enough games to do it all day today.
Murray State and Florida State, that's a West Regional matchup as well, about to tip off in just a minute or two. Baylor-Gonzaga, another West Regional game, takes place at 6:10 Central, 7:10 Eastern. Those 2 games both have big implications for whoever wins this one here between Michigan and Florida, as those will be 2 of the other 3 teams who will be in Anaheim, the winner of those matchups. Texas Tech and Buffalo will play tomorrow to determine the 4th and final team in the West Regional Sweet 16. Out of the timeout, Nemhard gets the inbound pass. Matthews is switched on to him. Simpson is in the corner guarding Kevon Allen. Nemhard drove in, and then now he's switched on to Teskey. Teskey's watching him. Nemhard just looks like he's going to pull up. Now he crosses over, tries to go in on Teskey, runs into trouble. 5 seconds on the shot clock. They kick it back out. Eli Brooks guarding his man to the lane, lays it up. No, Teskey the rebound. A tenacious defensive possession there for the Wolverines, and about a 5-second difference between shot clock and game clock, so Michigan can essentially hold to the last possession. John Beeline's got to use it or lose it timeout. Doesn't seem intent on taking it. Simpson to Teskey. Teskey guarded fiercely. Simpson grabs it. Livers drives to the paint, and he's going to draw a foul, and that will turn off the shot clock. So Michigan will have the last shot as he was blocked in the lane.
Man, right there, after that great defensive possession for Teske, would have liked to see him reward the big man on offense. He got him. Florida switched. He got a mismatch. Had the smaller guy on him. Tried posting up, and Michigan is never very. Or they're always reluctant to throw it down to him right there. But I would have liked to see him just get one chance down in the post. And yeah, now John Beeline going to take that use it or lose it timeout. May as well on the dead ball. Draw something up here for a nice baseline play. I'm sure he's got something good he's brewing up there in that huddle.
You have to think so. Florida in their huddle, Michigan in theirs in the separate parts of the stadium. Michigan's fan contingent is seated right behind the Wolverine bench. The Florida contingent is across the court from where the Florida bench is. The MSU section is behind the Florida bench, and the Minnesota section is across the court from where the Michigan contingent is. Very well confined to those areas. It's hard to tell what is Michigan maize and just Minnesota gold here. I'm seeing a lot of yellow. I think it's mostly Minnesota fans. Yep. Poole's got to get it in, and Simpson barely corrals that on a dangerous inbound pass. 10 seconds remaining in the first half. Now 7. Simpson's going to get a screen from Teske. He's got Poole open for 3, and that one is left a little short. And Florida is able to get off a shot at the buzzer, and it falls wide to the left, and that'll end the half. Michigan leads 32-28. It was a hot start and then turned into the defensive battle we eventually expected.
Yeah, and you can tell Florida came out here expecting that zone defense, planning on running that zone defense to give Michigan fits, and it sure did there for a spell. Michigan seemed to have figured it out there a little bit towards the end. Surprised to see them go away. They were really sticking to the man there at the end of that first half. I would not be surprised to see Florida come out in the second half playing more of that zone defense, really turn this into a barroom brawl.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch the adjustments made after halftime, because certainly Michigan now has an opportunity to sit down and try to scheme about what they do when the zone comes back. And Florida's got to figure out a way to score if the threes aren't falling, because they shot way above their average, and if they regress to the mean, we haven't seen much to suggest that they will survive offensively.
No, and not the way that John Teske has been playing here so far.
Yep.
Really, in all facets, he's been out on the perimeter, guarding that pick and roll. He's gotten switched onto smaller guys. He's been able to stay in front of them. He's really locked down the paint tremendously. Really a perfect game here so far for John Teske.
Yeah, Teske's been brilliant. If we take a look at the halftime stats, Matthews finishes 3 of 4. You'd like to see him with the ball in his hand a little more in the second half. Poole finishes a rough 2 of 8. 2 of 5 from 3, was hot early and then very much cooled off. Simpson was an excellent 3 of 3 from the field with 7 points, but he did have 2 turnovers. Livers a rough 1 of 5. His one was a 3-pointer to give him 3 points. Teske 6 points on 3 of 4 from the field. 0 for 1 from behind the arc, but very, very strong for him. Brisdakis a very rough 1 of 6. 2 points in the first half.
Yeah, didn't expect everyone to come out and have a hot game here, as good as Florida is on the defensive end, but it's kind of becoming a theme here. Jordan Poole has not had the greatest decision making here.
Yeah.
So far in the tournament. It was also a problem during the Big Ten tournament. You love to see him come out, have a hot start, but you can tell that maybe that he gets a hot start going and he thinks it's just going to carry on, and hasn't so far here. I'd like to see him kind of try to switch to a more a distributing mindset here. He has done a great job of getting the ball and pump faking on a closeout guy, but then he drives in and then he's looking to shoot. He's put up a few floaters, none of them have gone as far as I can remember. I'd like to see him get past that first level of the defense and then look to dish that off to guys underneath the basket.
On the Florida end, Nemhard 3 points on 1 of 3 from the field. That one was a 3-pointer. Hudson 2 of 4 from the field, 2 of 7 from the field, 2 of 4 behind the arc, 6 points. Noah Locke 8 points 3 of 7 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. So you look at those 3 guards for Florida, those guys have 1 made field goal combined that is not a 3-pointer. And that's the danger for the Gators moving forward, is that those guys have got to find ways to produce outside of the 3. Same thing with Keontae Johnson, 3 points on 1 of 1 from the field, and that 1 of 1 was a 3-pointer. Kavarius Hayes, 3 of 6 from the field. 2 of those were uncontested dunks. I mean, when Michigan has set their defense and executed their switches, it's been lights out except for tough shot making.
Yeah, and I can't imagine Michigan's going to be too stressed in the locker room about their defensive performance. They just got to come out, keep doing what they've been doing, and they're the #1 defense in the nation for a reason. I'd imagine this Florida offense is going to cool off. They just keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, stick to the game plan and then hope Florida cools off. It's never easy in the NCAA tournament. Always a tough battle. But Wolverines up 4 at the break have to like where they're at. It's going to be an exciting second half coming up. And with that, we'll be back in about 13 minutes or so for the second half. We are back now for the second half of action between the Michigan Wolverines and the Florida Gators in a number 2 seed versus number 10 seed matchup in the West region of the 2019 NCAA tournament, live from Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa. I'm Alex Drain, now joined by Andy Laidlaw after a competitive first half that started out with guns blazing. Both teams were, I believe, over 15 points less than 10 minutes in, about 7 minutes into the game. And then things really cooled off, both teams shooting just barely over 40%. Michigan leads 32-28.
This is a Florida Bulldogs team who really only shoots 33% from 3. Well, start off in the first half, they shot 50%. So Florida really has been rolling offensively, and honestly, it's a team that is very good defensively. They're ranked 15th in Ken Pom defensive efficiency. So this is a team, if they're scoring well, they're going to beat you because they got a great defense coming back. But in terms of Michigan, you can see what Florida did last night on Caleb, or 2 nights ago, on Caleb Martin. They're doing today on Ignis Brazdeikis. Iggy, 1 of 6 from the floor, really struggling getting his rhythm offensively. He's still seeing his tendency of burying his head and throwing up shots that he typically does, but with Iggy struggling, Charles Matthews and Xavier Simpson has looked really good. Charles Matthews finally looking healthy again, looking his normal athletic self, shooting 3 of 4 from the field, and then Xavier Simpson being absolute dominant. 3 of 3 from the floor, 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. The typical guy that Xavier Simpson usually is. They're going to need more of Xavier Simpson and Charles Matthews if Iggy's going to continue to struggle.
Well, Charles Matthews in that first half, 3 of 4 from the field, 7 points. He had 22 and 10 in the game against Montana on Thursday night. Brazdeikis had 14 on Thursday night, but very, very quiet in that first half. Michigan will look to get him going, and Isaiah Livers' shooting slump that was present against Montana, present again here today, only 1 of 5 in the first half with just 3 points. He had a couple big offensive rebounds, but not much else from him. Simpson, a sterling 3 of 3 from the field for 7 points. Michigan will look to get more from him, and certainly pounding it inside to Teskey will be something to watch.
Yeah, Teskey's been very efficient so far, but another guy has been struggling offensively, Jordan Poole. He started off with those 2 big threes from the first 5 minutes, and then really hasn't done anything else besides them. He's still sitting at 7 points. So he hit that 3 with the and one, 4 points, and another 3 since then. He hasn't done much. So Michigan, if they want to get going here, Jordan Poole's got to step it up. He's got to hit more outside shots. And Ignis Brazdeikis really got to get going offensively. Another thing, talking about Jordan Poole, his defense has been really lackluster so far. A couple times you saw Coach Yakovich, defense coordinator for Michigan, and John Beeline on the bench screaming at Jordan Poole, falling asleep and getting lost defensively. There was that one inbound play on the baseline where Jordan Poole fell asleep. His player back cut on him. Unfortunately, Florida missed him.
So horn has just sounded, and these two teams ready for the second half of action. Michigan leading by 4, 20 minutes placed up on the clock, battling in this round of 32 matchup for a ticket to Anaheim, California, to be a part of the Sweet 16 in the West Regional and to play the winner of Buffalo and Texas Tech next Thursday night.
Yeah, I expect Michigan to try to move the ball around a little more in that 1-3-1 zone. They've been really stagnant so far. You've seen Xavier Simpson and Jordan Poole going back and forth much. I'd like to see them more push the ball more in the short corners, get in the corners where Livers can hit a 3, Poole can hit a 3, Iggy can hit a 3. They've been really stagnant so far, and you can't really flash anything in the middle in a 1-3-1, so you got to hit the outsides. You got to hit the corners.
So Poole gets ready to inbound, and he will give it into Simpson. Florida won the opening tip, so Michigan has the ball to start the second half, as there was no tie-ups in that first half of action. Brazdeikis back onto the floor, only played 11 minutes in the first half. Simpson finds him wide open on the wing for 3, and it goes! It bounced up into the air and then dropped straight down, and Michigan leads by 7, 35-28. It's a big shot for Brazdeikis. He's now 2 of 7 from the field for 5 points.
Yeah, big shot for Iggy. Yeah, he had to see one going. He saw one going. Now it's time for him to ball.
Kavarius Hayes hands it off to Andrew Nemhardt. Teskey came over to help on that switch, now dribbling into the paint and leaving it just short was Keontae Johnson. Michigan grabs the rebound. They got 3 and 3 in transition, and Simpson had to slow it down, almost carried it there. Passes it over to Poole. They go inside for Teskey. He gets it nicely, lays it up off the glass and in. Michigan now up by 9, 37-28.
Very nice inbound pass for Jordan Poole to get it over John Teskey's defender. Teskey got it, laid it up, and got a big bucket for the Wolverines.
Simpson slaps the floor to lock in defensively. Keontae Johnson with the ball over to Hayes. He stands outside the three-point arc, flings it around to Jalen Hudson, trying to get it to Nemhard, who's going to post up Simpson, who is locking him down well. Now outside Johnson, working on Brisdakis. He cuts into the paint. A great pass to a cutting man, but Teske contests so well. Now loose on the floor. It's going to be a tie-up. Florida will retain possession, but the arrow will now go back in favor of the Wolverines.
Yeah, another guy's flying under the radar for the Wolverines today is John Teske. He's played absolute phenomenal interior defense for the Wolverines, and he's been great on the board. 7 rebounds, only giving up 2 offensive rebounds for the Florida Gators. It's really been a quite impressive game by John Teske. Not scoring much, but doing fantastic on the boards and defensively.
Florida's got to get it in, and it's a 5-second violation.
Good coverage by the Wolverines, sticking to their guys, not leaving any lanes open. And then Michigan putting a defender on the inbounder. Xavier Simpson doing a very great job. Good possession there by the Michigan Wolverines.
Well, Andrew Nemhard lacks the experience as a freshman who
absolutely
will certainly, as I said in the first half, he will be a very good player one day in the SEC. But this season has just been struggling at times, but also been very good at other times, and a little just bit of a mental error there. But certainly great coverage by the Wolverines.
Yeah, talking about Andrew Nemhard, he looked fantastic Thursday night against Nevada. He got to the rim very efficiently against a team who was very good. Caleb and Cody Martin, 2 great guards. So yeah, you're right, Andrew Nemhard is going to be a bright future for these Florida Gators.
Here comes the zone again. Poole finds Brisdakis into the corner. Now Poole dribbles into the paint, lays it up, count that baby, and a foul.
That's exactly what you got to do for the Michigan Wolverines fighting a 1-3-1 zone. You got to penetrate. You got to get the ball in the outside. If you get in the outside, get it back to the middle, penetrate, break through your double teams and finish it on the rim. That is exactly what Jordan Poole just did. Huge play for the Michigan Wolverines and a huge start to this second half. You come out in a tight game, a 4-point ball game, and you break it out to 11 points in less than 2 minutes. That is huge for the Michigan Wolverines, playing both defense and offense to start off this half.
Certainly a great run there by Michigan, and a fine play by Poole, finally getting back into the action. Mike White, by the way, has just taken a timeout for the Gators to try and stop this quick flurry of Michigan offense to begin this second half. The foul goes on Kavarius Hayes, who had bumped Poole as he was zigzagging into the lane. And worth noting, look who's out on the floor. It is the Michigan State Spartans, seated off to behind the basket rather, on the end where Florida is attacking. They are seated, and here comes the Spartan band taking their spot. They are getting ready to play as soon as this one concludes against Minnesota. We haven't seen, there's some Gopher players behind the Michigan band. Haven't seen the Minnesota band yet. Will certainly be a rousing atmosphere. You can already seen a lot of gold and maroon around this stadium. Gophers are packing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very odd situation with 2 Big Ten teams playing each other in the round of 32. You don't see it a lot. You don't see the 2 teams from the same conference playing each other this early in the tournament. So it's very odd, and it's those kind of games where you have to put the higher seed on an upset alert. Minnesota, even though they only played them 1 time this year, they've seen Michigan State quite often. Coach Pitino knows how to coach against Tom Izzo. He knows his tendencies. That's a game you have to look at for the upset alert. But if you're Florida Gators to coach Mike White, that is the worst possible scenario for this Florida Gators team coming out of halftime. You have a 5-second call. You turn the ball over. Michigan goes down and scores twice. You can't do that. You can't have 1 bad turnover and 2 horrible defensive possessions. And it's been a whirlwind for Florida to come out in the first half. They looked absolutely dominant in the first half against Nevada Thursday night. And then the second half against Nevada, they struggled very, very much. Almost blew that game. So I'm curious if this is sort of a trend here where the Florida Gators struggling in the second half. We'll see how they come out for the rest of the half.
I will say one similarity between Florida in this game and Minnesota on Thursday were a pair of teams who don't shoot the 3 well at all. Florida came out in this first half knocking them down, and Minnesota on Thursday just bludgeoned Louisville from behind the arc. Interesting to see if the Gophers can continue that stretch of hot shooting.
Yeah, we were talking about Alex. A guy like Jordan Murphy, who doesn't hit a lot of outside shots, was fantastic behind the arc against Louisville Thursday morning. So yeah, it's a super interesting. When you come to the tournament, it's a new season. You find new tendencies. You try to find different ways to score and get to the basket. And Minnesota did it very, very very well Thursday, and so did Florida, and they're doing it very well in the first half, of this game.
Well, score update for a game that matters for the West Regional. Florida State has jumped out to a 37-26 lead over the Murray State Racers. That game, the winner will go to the West Regional Sweet 16.
Yeah, John Morant already super early in the game, looking so efficient, hitting his outside shots. There was one play, he was surrounded in the paint and just dumped off a great pass for an assist. That guy's incredible.
So Jordan Poole knocks down his free throw. He's now 2 of 2 at the line on the day.
Yeah, for Florida, you try to get Jalen Hudson involved. The guy who looked very, very good Thursday night was 5 of 13 shooting with 15 points, so you got to try to get that guy involved.
There's an open shot in the corner, and it is off the mark. Simpson with the rebound. You have to wonder about regression to the mean for Florida shooting the three. Now Simpson tries to get an entry pass to Teskey, and we're going to get a travel on Florida. Kavarius Hayes intercepted the inbound pass and then took too many steps there.
Yeah, I like Xavier Simpson trying to push the pace a little bit, but in a situation like that, you do not have numbers. You still have the big guy on Teskey. You don't need to force that pass inside. Fortunately, Michigan got a break there, and Florida traveled.
Simpson gets it into Brisdakis on the wing.
Man-to-man. After they fall back from their 1-3-1, they fall back into that man-to-man defense. Yeah. So I'm curious to see Michigan get more pick and roll, try to get Teskey involved.
Poole, step back from 3. Bingo! And Michigan with their largest lead of the game, 43-28. Poole has come out guns blazing.
Silky smooth for JP with a little step back and the flick of the wrist. Big shot for Jordan Poole. Again, finding his confidence, hitting his 3rd three of the game.
Nembhard dribbles around, runs into some trouble, and Poole swats it out of bounds as they are trying to find Hudson in the corner. Michigan playing great defense and now getting in a bit of an offensive rhythm. They are on an 11-0 run in just 2.5 minutes to begin this second half and stretch out to a 15-point lead.
Yeah, this is a Florida Gators team that does not want to be behind. They're 59th in offensive efficiency in the Ken Pom rankings. So this is a team that's not prone for comebacks. They want to stay ahead and they want to, hold the lead, control the pace of the game.
Nembhard switched on to Teskey, and he's going to take a 3. We're going to have a foul underneath on Simpson, I think, who is matched up onto Kavarius Hayes.
Yeah, very, very tough switch. Xavier Simpson gave up 9 inches in that battle, trying to fight for position. Gets a foul called on before the shot, so there's to reset the play, and Xavier Simpson's going to pick up, I believe, his 2nd foul.
No foul trouble for either team. Neither team even made it into the bonus. Now here's an inbound pass to Jalen Hudson, who knocks it down. He's a confident shooter despite a lot of issues he had from behind the arc this season. Has improved in the last couple months and shooting it well entering the tournament. He makes another 12-point game. Florida knocks it out of bounds as they went back to the zone. Yeah,
again, Florida pushing that 1-3-1 zone, trying to push Michigan in that top half of the corner, trying to trap them in those corners. They got to push it down, lower the baseline, or lower down the sideline, and try to put the ball in the middle and attack the basket.
Simpson dribbles around. Now Matthews to Poole. Corner, Iggy Brisdakis back to Poole. Now they go to Matthews at the free throw line. He's matched up on a less agile guy, and his jump shot, no. Teskey, big offensive rebound. Matthews throws on the brakes, dribbles back out by the March Madness logo. Now they go to Teskey in the post. He's got a big advantage, and they're going to get a foul called on Keontae Johnson, who was in a really tough situation getting posted up by Teskey.
That's another disadvantage for the Florida Gators here. They're putting out a big Keontae Johnson, who's 6'9", compared to John Teskey, 7'1". It's going to be very hard to get defensive rebounds, and we're seeing that with Michigan, who has 7 offensive rebounds compared to Florida's 3. So that's been a big advantage here for the Wolverines early on.
Simpson gets it into Teskey. Now Simpson finds Poole for 3 again, and he missed that one wide to the left. Bounced off the backboard and down. Here come the Gators, trailing by 12, 43-31, 16:25 remaining. Now dribbling is Hayes. He kicks it out. Florida still waiting. They had Hayes streaking towards the paint. Now a tough floater there, and tipped around. Teskey is able to grab the rebound. Missing that shot was Noah Locke. Here comes Simpson in transition. Throws on the brakes, but he switched on to Hayes. He can drive it if he wants to, and he's going to. To his right, the hook shot off the glass, no. But Matthews, a big rebound. He puts it back up. That one tips around, no. And Michigan, some good looks there, just not able to get them to drop.
Another big offensive rebound for the Wolverines. John Teskey picks up one down here on the other end, and then picks up defensive rebound, and then Simpson comes down, picks up on the offensive side.
And we're going to have a bump on Teskey on a screen at the under 16 timeout. Michigan 43, Florida 31. The Gators 38% from the field, but 50% from three, 7 of 14. That is the only reason they're in the game. If they continue to make some threes.
Absolutely. You were talking about the first half struggles from the two. They only shoot 33%, and before halftime they were shooting 33% from the two-point line. So it's definitely been a plus to the game to hit the outside shots. But in terms of John Teske, man, he is playing all assets of his defensive game has been fantastic. They're putting him in pick-and-roll opportunities where he struggled against Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament. He struggled against Michigan State in the regular season. He's really been struggling with it all year. Hedging those screens on pick-and-rolls, been absolutely fantastic today, standing in front of Andrew Nembhard. So Teske's been excellent, and that's another asset to his game. If he can add, Michigan's going to be very dangerous, and the defense that is already very dangerous.
15:51 to go here in the contest. Michigan 43, Florida 31. Florida State continues to lead Murray State 42-30. Baylor and Gonzaga, another important game for the West Regional, will tip off in about 25 minutes.
Yeah, we got some fans killing it in the air guitar camp here in Wells Fargo Arena. And really, we're starting to see this place fill up. I think we're seeing the Minnesota fans starting to file in. A fan base, a Gopher Nation, who absolutely dominated the arena Thursday in the early game. I expect all those crazy Gopher fans to show up and cheer on their team against a tough Michigan State opponent.
Now the Gopher band has finally showed up. They're filing in behind where the Michigan cheerleaders are congregated. Florida has 2 timeouts remaining. Michigan has 3. The Wolverines have sunk back into an 0 of their last 4 from the field. Poole, 13 points to lead the squad, 4 of 11 from the field. Matthews, 3 of 6. Simpson, 3 of 4. Teske, 3 of 4. Brzdakis, 2 of 7. Florida was a team that when you looked at their stats coming in, very similar to how they're playing right now in that nobody is their big scorer. Yeah. They are very balanced, which isn't a great thing because they can't really score. Exactly. They don't have a go-to guy. And you look at their score totals right now, 3 for Nembhard, 9 for Hudson, 8 for Locke, 3 for Johnson, 6 for Hayes, 2 for Bassett. Nobody in double figures right now.
Yeah, I mean, you look back to the game on Thursday, Kavaris Hayes had 16 points and Jalen Hudson had 15. Well, Kavaris Hayes is a very efficient guy. Ended up fouling out late in that game. Like you said, only has 6 points right now, so it's a struggle for Florida to score, but they got to rely on the guys that usually get them buckets. Kavaris Hayes, one of those guys, really struggling so far. But that's another thing to say. That's due to Michigan's defense and John Teske. Like I said, I've already said it 2 or 3 times. I'm going to say it again. John Teske has been so excellent defensively and been very, very tough in the post defense. So if not all of it goes on Kavaris Hayes, Teske's been absolutely excellent.
And as a sort of a result of Teske's great defensive play is the fact that Florida is 5 of 18, just 27% on twos.
Exactly. Yep.
So Florida will be inbounding the ball in the under-16 timeout. Noah Locke onto the court will do the inbound pass, and he will fire it into Nembhard, who's matched up on Matthews right now.
Yeah, if you're Florida, you really want to get Noah Locke going. He's your best.
And there's an alley-oop, and it goes for Jalen Hudson. He cuts around Poole.
Yeah, good offensive play there. They were in a back screen and alley-oop pass. Absolutely fantastic execution by the Florida Gators. But like I was saying, if you get Noah Locke going, your best 3-point shooter, that'd be very beneficial for the Gators.
Here comes the zone again. Matthews flings it for Brzdakis on the baseline, and that's out of bounds. Another Michigan turnover. That's 6 on the game, and the Wolverines haven't scored in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I think Charles Matthews was looking for Iggy to kind of go up towards the basket. Iggy wasn't exactly paying attention, falling asleep, and Charles Matthews throws the ball into, it looks like the Minnesota band.
Nembhard crossed half court. Once again, it's Matthews who's matched onto him. It's Poole trying to guard Hudson. Poole gets lost again on a screen, and Hudson can't knock that one down, but an offensive rebound for Locke. Fortunate bounce for the Gators. Nembhard goes to the glass, lays it up, no, but Matthews will get called for the foul.
Again, Iggy Brzdakis kind of falling asleep, not boxing anybody out. Florida gets the offensive rebound and goes up and gets a foul. That's a very, yeah, you're right. It was a tough bounce for the Wolverines, but still, you got to put a body on somebody, and Iggy didn't. Allowed the offensive rebound, and Florida's going to the line.
That's the 4th offensive rebound for Florida. Michigan still dominating that category, 8-4. Nembhard makes the first. Florida now on a 6 6-0 run. Can make it 7-0 with this second.
Yeah, Michigan not scoring a point in the last 2:43, a problem the Wolverines have had all year.
And Nemhart's second rolls 2 full times around the rim and then goes down. So Florida back within 8. Their crowd really fired up.
Yeah, Wolverines right now, get a good basket. Don't rush. Don't take a rush shot. Just get a good look at the hoop.
They go Livers baseline. The zone is back for Florida. Matthews, they've got Brzdakis wide open underneath, but Matthews didn't want to risk that pass again.
Yeah, you're not seeing Matthews force a lot. All the last possession he did.
Brzdakis with the ball, he dribbles inside, spin move, underneath, lost the ball, stripped by Nemhart. He was put in a tough spot there, 5 on the shot clock, and was forced to do something. Nemhart finds a man wide open in the corner for 3, off the mark. Tipped around in an offensive rebound by Jalen Hudson. Poole unable to box out. Nemhart into the paint. Great pass and a slam for Keontae Johnson. Gators back within 6, 9-0 run. John Beeline screaming at his guys. They're going to take a timeout. And you see it again. Michigan's offense has no idea what to do with that zone.
Yeah, 3:34 scoring drought for the Wolverines. But on that last possession, Jordan Poole had a very good box out. And the Florida offensive guy went over Jordan Poole's back, and the call was not made, and it led to a basket. Very unfortunate break for the Wolverines. But still, you have to find a way to get those defensive rebounds. And Michigan, in 2 straight possessions, has given up an offensive rebound, and it has resulted in 4 Florida Gator points. But for the Wolverines, you have to score. You can't afford to go on these big droughts. In all 3 Michigan State games, they had a comfortable lead in the second half, and guess what? They went on a scoring drought. In all 3 of those games, Michigan State came back and took the victory. The Wolverines cannot afford to have these long offensive droughts. They have to put the ball in the hoop. Otherwise, they're going to be knocked out of this NCAA tournament in the first weekend.
Quick 30-second timeout for Michigan. Both teams, or rather Michigan now, should have 2 timeouts remaining for both squads. 3 fouls on the Wolverines, 2 on the Gators. 14-13 remaining.
Florida still coming out in that 1-3-1 half-court trap. Good swing by Jordan
Matthews
Poole.
on the wing, back to Poole. He's going to dribble into the paint, gets it outside to Matthews. He gets it right back in a give and go. Now Matthews dribbles inside. 12 on the shot clock. They go right back to Poole. Step back 3, and he's fouled. Jordan Poole, even when he is struggling the most, he is able to draw that contact, and he will go to the line for 3 free throws.
For the second time today, Jordan Poole hits a little step back and he goes straight up. Usually when guys to the step back, they still sort of fade away. But Jordan Poole kind of has the ability to control his body and go straight up, and he draws the second foul on a 3-pointer.
So Poole goes to the line, makes the first. He was fouled on a 3 earlier in the contest, made it, and got the 4-point play.
We'll say this Florida Gator band is pretty rowdy today. They're kind of involved. They're definitely way more involved than the Wolverines band. It's kind of advantage here without a student section from either team. You've seen the Florida Gator band step up.
So Poole makes his second. Now here's the third and final, and he gets that one to go. Great free throw shooter, and it is 46-37, Michigan over Florida. Nemhart dribbles it up.
Yeah, an important defensive possession for the Wolverines here. They got to keep everybody in front and can't give up another offensive rebound.
Nemhart dribbles in, kicks it to the corner. Keontae Johnson goes right by Brzdakis, but then a weird pass. Kavarius Hayes posting up Teskey inside, and he runs into an absolute wall there. 5 on the shot clock as he kicks it out to Nemhart, who's in huge trouble. Flings it across, 2 seconds, 1, open 3, no. And the rebound by Matthews. Johnson unable to get that one to fall. A tremendous pass from Nemhart to see that out of nowhere. And a pretty darn good look for Johnson, just couldn't knock it down. Poole goes inside to Teskey, who's double-teamed badly, and then he throws it off. Oh, we're going to have a foul, I think, on Florida.
No, I think Teskey tried throwing a baseline pass. Florida tipped it, hit the back of the backboard, so Michigan's retained possession. But that last defensive possession was made because, again, John Teskey playing phenomenal post defense and then going out and hedging a great screen. John Teskey really, really stepping up defensively for the Wolverines today.
15 on the shot clock. Simpson dribbles inside, gives it off. Poole open 3 again. That one just short. 46-37. Michigan still on top. Under 13 minutes remaining in the game.
Good to see Jordan Poole have a little confidence with his 3. He's been sort of hesitant lately.
Kavarius Hayes goes around Teskey, who was hedging over for a split second, and Hayes able to get past him to the rim. Really the only time that anyone's been able to penetrate past Teskey. Back to a 7-point game. Michigan 0 for their last 5 from the field. They have not made a field goal in 5 full minutes.
Yeah, very good job there. It's sort of a small thing, but John Texas kind of flashed up and got the ball in the elbow in this 1-3-1 zone. Really beneficial for Michigan to break that zone. Florida falls back in their man-to-man defense.
Matthews dribbling inside. He goes to the rack, throws it up, no, and rebound there by the Gators.
Yeah, you're seeing that real tough Florida Gator defense. Really, Michigan has not had any easy shots, and they haven't hit any of those contested shots. So this is why Florida is respected as a great defense and really giving Michigan's offense a tough time today.
Nemhard holds the ball, already down 12 on the shot clock. He is guarded by Simpson. The screen with Hayes, gets a double team, kicks it out. Jalen Hudson open for 3, and he missed it. And that one will go out of bounds off the Gators. And we have the under 12 timeout.
A really, really bad offensive possession there by the Florida Gators. Andrew Nemhard, their starting point guard, had the ball, like you said, outside of the three-point line, held it for about 10 seconds. Then he dished it off to Jalen Hudson, who had a wide open 3, and he gave a pump fake and put himself in a worse shot, and then went up for the 3 and missed it. So a really bad, poor offensive possession there by the Florida Gators.
Michigan is 0 for their last 6 from the field, have not made a field goal in 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's another, we talked about John Teske being so great defensively. That's another sort of disadvantage for the Wolverines. When the team is on a drought, a lot of college basketball teams like to dump it into their big men, so their big men can go one-on-one back to the basket offense and get a bucket when they really need one. Unfortunately, John Teske is not great at that. He's not a great post scorer for the Wolverines, so when they're on a drought, they can't necessarily afford to dump it into Teske and have him make something happen. So when John Teske, when this team goes in a drought, they don't have that option, and they really continue to fall on these long droughts.
Yeah. Yeah, the last Michigan field goal was the Poole 3 at 17:46 remaining.
Yeah, I feel the Wolverines, still this 1-3-1 press is giving you a lot of trouble. We saw what John Teske did. If you could try to flash up to those elbows, you still have that guy in front of the zone in the middle, or in the middle of that 1-3-1 zone, but kind of flash outside him, but try to put a body in front of him, get that ball on the elbow, and then try to look opposite and make things happen.
The Michigan band starting to play their usual hits here in the second half and try to get the Michigan crowd, not a very big one, but still a solid crowd, to trek out to Iowa, trying to get them involved.
Yeah, score check around NCAA right now. Murray State really starting to struggle against Florida State. John Morant fever is kind of slowing down as Florida State's up 50-34 on Murray State. So John Morant, it's been exciting to watch, but they're really struggling right now, down 16 to the Seminoles.
Well, Florida State is just shooting the lights out against Murray State. They're 8 of 14 from 3, and that team, which is such a paint-type team with all that length, when they shoot 8 of 13 from 3, it's just over. Yeah,
Florida State is a super interesting team. If you watch them all the way throughout ACC play and really in the ACC tournament, where they played very well, this is a team that they either shoot a 3 or they have an absolute slam alley-oop dunk. So they're really a tough team to defend because they can beat you with their length, but they're also very good shooters. So Florida State is a team in this West region that Michigan or Florida may run into, that it's a very dangerous team and very easily could win this West region.
11:48 remaining in the game, 46-39 Michigan. These games are never, ever easy.
No. And you don't expect that in A, the NCAA tournament, and B, in a defensive matchup like this. Florida, who I said, has defense efficiency rating of the number 15 overall in KenPom, where Michigan's number 2 overall. This was expected to be a barn-burner defensive type game, and it really has been thus far. We're at the 11:40 mark in the second half, and Michigan's only got 46, while Florida only has 39.
Well, Florida's starting to get back towards their season average now, 7 of 18 from 3. They've missed their last 4, and that's allowed Michigan to stabilize with this high single-digit edge for the last little while. But the Wolverines have got to find some answers offensively when the zone sets in. You know, Florida's a team that is really made for the zone in terms of length. They're able to cut off those passing angles and create the turnovers.
Yeah, we're seeing Florida come out in a 1-2-2 full court press. So it's definitely a different look for the Wolverines, and Wolverines are breaking it very well so far.
Livers ran into a bit of trouble, then just handed it back to Simpson. Already 15 on the shot clock. That's
very good ball movement. Very good ball movement by the Wolverines.
Of the press to force those late shot clock possessions. Teske with a quick screen for Matthews. He's in trouble. 5 on the shot clock. Simpson's going to dribble into the paint. He goes to the right. Here's the hook. Off the high glass. No. And it did not get any rim. And that's why you put the press on. Michigan was never able to get set up until it was panic time.
Yeah, Michigan broke the press fairly early, but they got to about, a little extended from the three-point line, about the March Madness logo, and stalled very much so. So a tough look for the Wolverines there on offense.
Nemhart dribbles baseline. He runs into trouble, now curls back around the other way, goes through the whole inside, and then decides to go back out. They go to Bassett in the post, facing Teske. He starts backing down. Teske right there again. 5 on the shot clock for Florida. Running into some trouble. Eli Brooks with a hand in the face, forces a miss, and Isaiah Livers with a tenacious rebound. And now up comes Charles Matthews. Now he slows down, going to get some help from Teske. Bounce pass, very dangerous to Livers, and we're going to have a foul on Florida underneath.
Yeah, and again, reiterating, John Teske, great defensive possession on Bassett there, but a guy who's really stepped up rebounding has been Isaiah Livers. He doesn't necessarily have many rebounds. I think he's only at 4 right now. But again, he's had very, very important rebounds. He had 2 offensive rebounds and 2 tough, in contention defensive rebounds.
Simpson up top to Teske. Over to Simpson. Now dribbles inside, throws on the brakes, finds Eli Brooks. He gets Nemhart to fall down, and a Brooks floater to go. And he finally ends the massive field goal drought, which was almost 7 minutes in length, over 7 minutes. Now Nemhart into the paint, inside to Bassett. He throws it up, no. Again, John Teske, just an anchor in the paint. Brooks comes down with the rebound. Michigan up 9, can stretch it back to double digits as we approach the halfway point of the second half. Clock ticking down to 10 minutes on the clock. Matthews over to Simpson. Here comes some help from Teske. He dribbles around him, looks for Matthews over top. Teske lays it up, oh boy, and he just missed it.
Yeah, tough inbound pass there from Matthews. Really got Teske under the hoop. Did not need to force that shot. Had a bad angle and took it.
And Allen drives into the paint and draws contact. That's going to be 3 on Xavier Simpson. With under 10 minutes remaining, it's not a huge issue, but it is something to think about.
And fortunate enough for the Wolverines, you have to tip your hat to Eli Brooks, giving Michigan very, very good minutes. He's came in here 2 of 2 shooting, 4 points, very, very good looks for Eli, but he's also playing great defense. So if they have to take away Xavier Simpson, they're going to be pretty comfortable with Eli the way he's been playing.
Nemhart to do the inbounding. They sub Brzdakis on, and now they get a man open in the corner for 3. Off the top of the backboard, Brooks comes away with the rebound. Here comes Eli Brooks on the fast break, and he is fouled there by Jalen Hudson. That'll be his second.
Again, Eli Brooks in a long rebound, hustling out there, getting the board, flying down the court. Led a 1-on-2 fast break against Michigan. 2 defenders compared to Michigan's 1 offensive guy. And Eli Brooks draws a big foul. Very, very good swing of events there for Eli Brooks, who I said, again, is having great, great minutes for these Wolverines.
So Matthews out and Poole in. This is an undersized lineup now for Michigan with Brooks at 6'1", Poole at 6'5", and Simpson 6'0". Brzdakis 6'7", and Livers at 6'7". Simpson has the ball, 15 on the shot clock. He's going to dribble into the paint. Little floater, no. He gets his own rebound underneath the hoop. Finds Brzdakis in the corner. He pump fakes. His shot is way short. And the rebound there from Keontae Johnson. That was almost a tremendous play.
Still seeing offensive struggles from Iggy. 2 of 8 from the floor, 1 of 4 from 3, only on 5 points. Michigan's leading scorer really has to pick up his game here if Michigan wants to dominate this game down the stretch.
Nemhart with the ball, guarded by Brzdakis, 10 on the shot clock. And he tries to go inside to Kavarius Hayes. It's tipped around. We're going to have a foul, I think, on either Brzdakis or Brooks.
Yeah, very odd scene there for the Wolverines. Hayes was switched on to Xavier Simpson again, 6'9" center compared to the 6'0" point guard. They dump it up, and you see you see Brooks, you see Simpson, you see Poole trying to go up with Hayes. Hayes gets it over everyone, and they call foul.
Eli Brooks picks up that one. He goes to the bench. Both teams now have 5 fouls. We're going to see some bonus action in this game, and now there's an open look for Allen. His shot goes down.
Michigan is having a really, really bad trend of falling for pump fakes. So really, it seems like Michigan, every time he's getting a pump fake, they're going flying in the air, leading to an easy pull-up by a Florida Gator offensive guy.
Poole, dangerous pass to Matthews. Florida's back into the zone. Michigan 48, Florida 41. 8:35 remaining. Poole open for three. He pump fakes, kicks it out. Simpson, his open three, leaves it short, and Simpson almost chased down his own rebound. Almost swiped it out of the hands of Kavarius Hayes. Florida only down 7, dribbles up the court. Michigan 1 for their last 12 from the field.
And Jordan Poole only shooting 33% from the floor, although is looking very good. He's catching the ball. He's in triple threat position. He's looking to pass, shoot, or score.
Nemhart dribbles. Watched by Brisdakis. Now they find a man open on the wing. It's Jalen Hudson. His shot too strong, and Matthews grabs it down. Jordan Poole and Keontae Johnson doing some wrestling. Both go to the floor, slow to get up. 8 minutes remaining in the game. Michigan on the offensive end. Florida's been very cold too offensively. Poole hands it off to Matthews. He gives to Simpson. Livers wants it. He's got it. Has some action coming. It's Brisdakis. He throws on the brakes. Bounce pass. Livers dribbles into the paint. He's there, lays it up, and count it! And a foul.
Isaiah Livers may have been very lucky there. He may have traveled. He did like a full 360 and laid it in. That might be a big break for the Wolverines. Well, that all started with Isaiah Livers giving that little pump fake. And like what Michigan's been, Florida kind of leaped up on their tippy toes, and it gave the opportunity for Livers to blow by, travel, but still get the bucket and go into the line.
Well, as we mentioned in the first half, this has not been the finest day for NCAA officiating.
And to be honest, it hasn't gone against Michigan. It's completely gone against Florida.
There's been one or two that Florida got in their favor, but it has been about 75-25 in terms of calls going in favor of the Wolverines.
A couple out-of-bounds plays, a couple blocks. Although we're talking about John Teske, his aggressiveness, he does tend to lean in with his body. He's got the big, strong, firm body, and he did it a couple times and it wasn't called. So, you know, it is what it is. It's going to happen in any game. And really, Michigan really has taken advantage, of the mishaps they've been given.
Well, 7:34 remaining. Isaiah Livers will have a free throw out of the timeout, and he is a 78% free throw shooter to stretch it back to 10.
Yeah, a Michigan team who really struggles from the line. Their season total, they're at just below 70% at 69%. So if this team wants to make another run, although last year they weren't a very good free throw shooting team, they got to really improve this year. In games like this might come down to a 2-point, 3-point game. They got to make their free throws. So these would be a big upcoming free throw there for Isaiah Livers.
7:34 remaining.
I'm also curious to see if Florida's going to continue that 1-2-2 full court press. They're really trying to push Michigan into the corners and trap them, but they were doing that very efficiently with their 1-3-1 zone. So I'm not exactly sure why Mark White really changed up his defensive scheming when it was working very well against Michigan.
A lot of Gopher fans on the television screen here in the Jumbotron getting ready for their game.
Yeah, again, kind of a disappointing turnout for the Michigan Wolverines. Not really bringing a lot of fans out here to Des Moines, but really with their struggles, you're right, Minnesota has picked it up greatly.
Yep, I mean, when you look up in the upper deck, it's hard to see because they're not really lit, but you can see a lot of maroon up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be a loud one here in the second game, following this one by about 30 minutes.
Yep.
I will say, going back to that last play, Isaiah Livers, the real thing that hampers him as a player at this point in his career is that ball handling.
Yeah.
And he very lucky to not get called to travel there. He has a tendency to get to travel quite a bit when he's got the ball in his hand, and that's reduced him to being basically a spot-up catch and shoot guy. I mean, he just can't really drive to the rim because it's such a liability when the ball is in his hands.
Yeah, exactly. He's Michigan's best shooter. He's shooting. I mean, he's shooting over 50% right now. Right now he's sitting at 44%. So he's Michigan's. No, excuse me. He's exactly at 44%. And he's a guy that's he's not exactly. He's athletic, but he doesn't have great leaping ability. So he's not a guy that finishes around the rim particularly excellent. But he's not a guy who's going to put himself in great position to be a one-on-one back to the basket sort of offensive player. He's a guy, like you said, he's a spot-up shooter. and that's kind of a role he's played here for the Wolverines.
So he's at the line. He entered the weekend very close to 50-40-90 in terms of his shooting percentages. He gets that one to go, so Michigan's double-digit lead is restored, and he goes quickly to the bench. On comes John Teskey.
Yep, 10-point in a game like this where both these defenses are very tough. A 10-point lead really feels like a 15-20-point lead, so it's going to be beneficial for the Wolverines to keep playing good defense.
Nembhard kicks it out. Hudson, open three, bingo! Jalen Hudson off the dribble, picking it up and shooting it and knocking it down. He's now 4 of 9 from 3. He's been playing really well for Florida this week and was a big factor in their win over Nevada, and his three-point prowess has contributed for Michigan. Teskey in the lane has it stripped, and Florida forces another turnover. They can cut it back to within 4 or 5. Nembhard double-teamed, and now he gives it away to Poole. He's up with Simpson, but Florida got back really well, and so Michigan will just throw on the brakes.
Yeah, great job by Jordan Poole getting the steal, but not looking to force things. He had a 2-on-2 fast break, but he wants to slow it down, get numbers, and get a good possession for the Wolverines.
Teskey sets a small screen. Simpson dribbles underneath. He goes through the entire paint and then gets bowled over. A whistle on the Gators.
Yeah, very weird play by Xavier Simpson. Again, he had the opportunity for his sky hook, but not exactly a tough one, just a normal little baby hook, and he could have made that shot very easily. Passed it up, went around the hoop. Luckily, he got fouled and is going to the line for a 1-on-1, but really, he's got to take advantage of those open looks around the basket. I don't understand why he passed that up.
So Simpson in the 1-on-1, very big situation here for a guy who entered the weekend not a great foul shooter, but he's been pretty good the last few months. He stands at the line, Florida trying to heckle him, but the band is on the other side of the court, and that one goes through.
That was just about as pure as Xavier Simpson free throw is going to look. And you got exactly right. Of late, he's been shooting very well from the line. Still, his season total is around 67%. But that's Jordan Poole. Sorry, that's Xavier Simpson, the guy who's not exactly a great free throw shooter.
Simpson's second goes down, so those are 2 huge free throws for the Wolverines. Back to a 9-point lead, 53-44. Wolverines on top, 6.5 minutes remaining. Florida's got to find some offensive rhythm that's not three-pointers. They've just really struggled to get it inside. Kevon Allen goes cross-court. Nembhard leaping into the air. Now Nembhard drives baseline, and he throws it away. Livers takes it over after Simpson pried it free. Another turnover for Nembhard, who's starting to struggle in the face of the tenacious Xavier Simpson. 4 turnovers now for Nembhard, who's been plastered by either Simpson and Matthews the entire game.
So for the Florida Gators, you have a guy like Kavaris Hayes who's really dominated against Nevada, and he still only took 6 shots today with 6 points. So from the Florida Gators, I'm looking to get him more shots.
Poole, an awkward floater after he went behind the back, step back, tried to draw contact, and really didn't get touched at all, and it created a very odd-looking shot. That was short. Florida picks it up now, driving inside, throwing on the brakes there was Noah Lott, kicks it out. Jalen Hudson, open 3 again, missed that one. Matthews corrals the rebound, thought about running out in transition, and decided not to. Michigan will slow it down.
Again, a smart play by the Wolverines, up 9 with 5.5 to go. You have the ability to slow it down, try to get a good look, make that shot clock go down a couple more seconds. So for the Wolverines, it's critical to get a couple pick and rolls, find a couple good shots.
Simpson finds Teskey. Teskey gives it right back to him. Simpson double-teamed, in some trouble, finds Teskey down low. He waits, throws it up, and it's in.
Got a very good pass by Xavier Simpson. Kind of got stuck at the elbow, but went through a couple defenders, delivered a very nice pass to John Teskey, and John Teskey gave a little pump fake, went up and got a bucket.
Well, Teskey looked like he was going to get fouled, and then nothing really came, but managed to finish the play, and now as the lead is stretched back to 11, 55-44, Mike White will take another timeout. He's only got 1 remaining now, as Florida will sit down and talk about it.
Again, very big for the Wolverines, and a team who's kind of struggled both offensively in the pick and roll and defensively in the pick and roll. From kind of find the rhythm in both. Defensively, like I said, John Teskey, guy who usually struggles hedging screens, has been excellent today doing so. And offensively, they've been stuck a lot. They've been stuck very often. Simpson to be at the elbow stuck, but he'll deliver a nice pass and get Teskey a bucket or get Liverpool on the outside for a 3. So very good, tough offense for the Wolverines that's really prevailed late here in the second half.
Gonzaga Baylor has just started their game. That one, another one in which the winner will head into the West Regional Sweet 16. The winner of the Florida State-Murray State game will play the winner of Gonzaga FSU or Gonzaga Baylor, and then the winner of this game between Michigan and Florida will play the winner of Buffalo, Texas Tech.
Yeah, this West region's really panning out to be pretty darn good. I mean, we talked about how Murray State's so dynamic. Florida State is shutting that down right away, playing great defense. Only gave up 34 points, so probably the second best or third best player in the country. And then this Gonzaga team, who we know is so athletic, we were kind of anticipating to play Syracuse against that 2-3 zone, where Baylor took care of Syracuse, looked very, very good. So this West region is panning out to be pretty darn good. And I'm also forgetting Buffalo, who's been very excellent all year in the MAC conference. As a 6 seed is very, very dangerous.
Yep, it's going to be a very competitive regional out there in Anaheim next weekend. Michigan trying to wrap up their ticket to California and the Sweet 16 of the West Regional. They've got 11-point lead and just under 5 minutes remaining to close it out. Florida hasn't scored in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, for the Florida Gators, try to get either Hayes or Hudson involved. They've been your two best scorers so far so far Thursday and today. So try to get those two involved.
And then a block by John Teskey is cutting into the lane with Keontae Johnson. Now a bounce pass, Livers up ahead. He goes to the rack. Down.
I was talking about Zay Livers not being electric around the rim. Well, that was electric around the rim. Great leaping ability to slam it home for Isaiah Livers.
Keontae Johnson dribbles it. He's swatted by Charles Matthews. Michigan back-to-back blocks, and then the monster jam from Isaiah Livers.
You're seeing this Wolverine crowd behind the Wolverine bench get pumped up, get exciting. A play like that can totally change the way the game is going. A huge play by Livers, and you're starting to feel the momentum by the Michigan Wolverines pick up.
And now Livers open for three, and he decided not to. Oh, boy. Almost traveled again. Matthews to the rack, lays it up. No. Teskey a chance. Ball was swatted away from him. Florida comes up with it in transition. Michigan gets back very, very well, though, and the Gators still in a 3-minute scoring drought. Nemart being watched by Livers. He's got an agility advantage if he wants to drive it. He's going to dribble, step back, now decides to go into the lane, throws it up, and it is off the mark. Poole with the rebound. Michigan's defense just suffocating Florida, now shooting only 34% from the field.
Yeah, you're seeing this Florida Gator team really struggle inside the paint. And again, I've said it a million times, this is John Teskey being absolute excellent. Having that long wristband, contesting many shots inside the paint. Very big move for the Wolverines.
Now kick, Livers back to Poole. Oh, Livers should have taken that shot himself, but Poole goes into the lane. The floater, no. Teskey's put back, unable to put it in, and then it goes out of bounds. Man, John Teskey, if he could just learn how to finish with his touch at the rim, he could be a lot more dominant than he is. But regardless, Michigan leads by 13 with 3:15 remaining, closing it out.
Yeah, last two offensive possessions for the Wolverines. They've had good looks. Livers passed up that three. Jordan Poole passed up that three. Then Teskey got a bunny with his left hand and then missed it. And then last possession, Charles Matthews took a great drive to the rim, got up with his right hand and took it long and missed it. So a couple of missed opportunities for the Wolverines to get a 17-point lead. Still stuck at 13. But like I was saying earlier, this is a Michigan defense that is electric. And here, 3:15 mark, up 13. You got to feel comfortable for the Wolverines, knowing that you have a great defense behind you.
Well, Florida scored only 16 points this second half. It's just been a wasteland for the Gators, who are shooting 6 of 22 from the field in the second half. That's only 27%, and their three-point shooting did regress to only 18%, 2 of 11. 2 free throws for Florida, and that's it. They just have been stuck and have no way to get out of the mud right now.
You know, I'm glad here in the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, they're sticking with tradition. We just saw the sock toss again.
Yes.
A thing we saw all day Thursday, and they're bringing it back for Friday. A huge tradition here in Des Moines. That's an electric move and an odd move, so hey, I'm glad they're still sticking with it.
The Michigan crowd very, very loud and active behind that bench.
Yeah.
Florida in the real danger zone right now. Their season on the line, trailing by 13. They're going to need to find some offensive rhythm and find it very, very quickly, or else it's getting late soon.
Yeah, very odd. Walking in, me, you, and Nate kind of saw a lot of Florida Gators fans kind of filing in. Well, looking around the arena right now, there's not many of them at all. And behind the basket, usually where you see the Florida Gator fans, instead of Florida Gator fans, we see Michigan State Spartan fans. So not a lot of help and support here for the Florida Gators, and it really does make a difference. You see Michigan band going crazy, playing the Michigan fight song. You see the parents behind the bench singing the fight song and screaming when Isaiah Livers gets a big dunk. When you're on these neutral courts, it really means a lot. And we were talking about Minnesota. That Minnesota game against Louisville basically was a home game, and you could tell the players in Minnesota really got behind that and really were energized by that. So it's a kind of a tough scene here for the Florida Gators, not getting a lot of support and not traveling well.
Well, and Florida is an interesting mix of experience and youth, because you have guys like Jalen Hudson and Kavarius Hayes who have been in these situations before, who were in the round of 32 a year ago and played a very tight game with Texas Tech. But then you have someone like Andrew Nemhard and Noah Locke and Keontae Johnson who are being asked to do a lot, and they are only freshmen, and only Nemhard was really a super highly touted. The other guys are very strong recruits too, but these aren't R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson type recruits. These are guys that you don't necessarily want playing all your minutes right away, but they've had to shoulder the load.
And that's why it's tough for the Florida Gators right now, but you got to look at the future, and this Florida Gators team has a very good opportunity, but their season's not quite done yet. They're still 13 points down, but there's still 3.5 minutes to go. There's a long time left on this basketball game.
So they inbounded into Nemhard. He dribbles it up, 3:15 remaining. Guarded by Simpson, finds Hudson coming off a screen. Now he's going to dribble around Poole. He's got a first step and stripped. Matthews got his hands in there and he takes it away. Michigan's defense forcing a lot of turnovers these last couple possessions. Florida still has not scored in over 4 minutes as Michigan is slamming the door, leading by 13, under 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, 3 turnovers in the last 14.5 minutes for the Florida Gators. And you can't do that down the stretch, and that's why you're seeing Michigan grow this lead.
Simpson gets a screen from Teskey, and he kicks it across. Beautiful find. Matthews wide open from the wing, and his three is just a little too long. Florida pulls it down. Michigan only shooting 6 of 20 from beyond the arc, but still leading quite commandingly. 2.5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, very rough look for Charles Matthews. A great pass, long court opposite pass by Matthews.
Jalen Hudson open three. He left it short. Simpson scoops up the rebound, and we with just 2:15 to go in this game.
Yeah, like I said, Charles Matthews. Xavier Simpson with a long court opposite court pass to Charles Matthews, and he missed it.
Poole underneath to Matthews, who then had Teskey at the free throw line. Poole open for three on the wing. Bingo! And Michigan leads by 16, 60-44. A 9-0 run over about the last 4.5 minutes, and it's just about over now. Nemhart guarded by Teskey. Going to dribble inside, waits, flips it up, and he finally gets a score for the Gators.
Yeah, Michigan basketball team who's really struggled scoring down the stretch really has took care of business here, making big buckets, getting electric finishes around the rim and hitting open threes.
Simpson is fouled quickly off the inbound by Nemhart, so he'll go to the line in the bonus 1-1. That's only the 8th foul on the Gators. He confidently swished 2 in the 1-1 last time around.
Yep, again here, it's not exactly the tightest game, 14 with a minute and a half to go, but you're going to see Michigan have to make free throws down the stretch, so this is great practice for later in the tournament.
And Simpson not able to make that one, so Gators get it right away off the rebound. Michigan didn't contest the rebound, sitting back and playing defense. Nemhart guarded by Teskey. His step-back jumper, very tough shot, and Simpson grabs down the rebound. 85 seconds remaining. Across to Poole, needs to get it across half court, and he does to Simpson. Teskey's fine Livers. He goes up. Another jam! Isaiah Livers throws it down once again, and Michigan back up by 16, 62-46, a minute 10 to go.
Isaiah Livers, baby, closing out this game with style, absolute electric. His play, one of those plays he pointed out at the end of the game, really turning around the momentum for the Wolverines.
And there's a three off the dribble by Kevon Allen to knock it down, make it 62-49 with exactly 1 minute left on the clock here in Wells Fargo Arena.
Yeah, although down 13 with a minute left, you're still seeing Florida Gators push the pace, try to take good looks, and really not delivering on many shots. And really, you're still seeing them play that 1-3-1 press, so it's definitely an odd situation for the Florida Gators. Still going hard here.
Florida State leads Murray State 55-34. Gonzaga up 14-7 over Baylor in the early going of that contest. The Wolverine band sounds as the fans seated right behind Michigan get fired up, ready to count down this victory over number 10 seeded Florida.
Playing one of the most iconic fight songs in all of college athletics. Hail to the victors. One that, although if you're not from Michigan, you probably know whose fight song it is.
Simpson to do the inbounding. Poole And Matthews and Brisdakis all on the floor ready to catch the inbound pass. Florida preparing to try and trap right away off the inbound and force a turnover. Simpson gets it into Poole. He's in the corner, guarded by Nemhart, and he's going to dribble around, flings it across to Simpson. Florida's going to want to foul Simpson, but he goes right through everybody, flings it to Matthews, and a jam! Charles Matthews cutting down the baseline and throws it in. John Beeline wasn't happy about something despite the monster jam there from Charles Matthews.
I'm not sure if Beeline wants him to shoot either ace so early in the shot clock or go for these big slams kind of showing up.
And there's a shot way off the mark by Nemhart. Too strong from 3. Simpson grabs down the rebound. 35 seconds remaining. And Michigan can count it down now. 23 seconds left. And Simpson's going to, standing there with Beeline, they're going to take a timeout, but they waited a long time to take the timeout.
No, John Beeline asked Xavier Simpson to step out of bounds. John Beeline
he's not, yeah.
No,
Simpson
John Beeline is not happy with Michigan taking those 2 huge slams late in the game.
He wanted the game to be over, yep.
He is not happy at all. He's, John Beeline, a really traditional guy. I don't think John Beeline wants Michigan to show up as Florida Gators taking those huge slams.
Yeah.
A very weird situation with the Wolverines. You saw Charles Matthews slam it home hard, and Isaiah Livers slam it home hard. And on both those plays, Beeline kind of raised his arms and asked why. So he's definitely frustrated with the Wolverines showing up the Gators late in this game.
Yeah, quick explanation is that Simpson dribbled over to Beeline, and they stood there a long time, and then Simpson stepped out of bounds. So the intentional turnover gives the ball back to Florida, but it's a dead ball, which allows Michigan to sub all of the backups on. Johns, DeJulius, Brooks, Nunez, and Davis. Gators going up quickly with it, 23 seconds left. Noah Locke on Brooks, and Eli Brooks continues to be a defensive stopper.
Yep.
Davis the rebound, and Eli Brooks will dribble up with it. Second straight game that the Wolverine backups have gotten in to an NCAA tournament contest. Michigan holds Florida under 50 points and are going to win 64-49. The clock ticks down, and for the 3rd straight year and the 5th time in the last 7, the Wolverines are headed to the Sweet 16.
Absolutely great environment here in Des Moines, and the Wolverines deliver again for the 3rd straight year. Like you said, they are going to the Sweet 16. Great performance by the Wolverines. Great performance by Jordan Poole, finding his confidence, scoring, and Charles Matthews to get to the rim efficiently. And the person I have to look out for, the absolute MVP of the game, is John Teske. Although he's not going to have great numbers offensively, John Teske was fantastic on the defensive end. He had screens, fantastic. He played great post defense. John Teske really controlled the pace of this game and was excellent on the defensive end. And if the Wolverines want to keep going and play a really tough team in either Buffalo or Texas Tech, they're going to have to continue to get great defensive performances from John Teske.
Yeah, Teske was absolutely huge, and you look at the final line, Michigan allowed just 20 points to Florida in that second half. It was absolutely dominant, held Florida to 8 of 28 from the field, 3 of 14 from 3. Michigan was pretty solid, 11 of 27 from the field in the second half. Shot 41% for the game, and only committed 9 turnovers, I think, or 9 or 10 in total, depending on how they chalked up that last one. So yeah, 10 turnovers, but 1 was intentional. And that's right at Michigan's season average. So to be held to your average by a team that forces a ton of turnovers in general is big for Michigan. They did just about everything they wanted here this weekend. 2 comfortable double-digit wins. You could get the backups in, low stress, and then you head into Anaheim ready to play. Yeah,
Michigan really did exactly what they want to do. They're a team that's not going to score particularly high. They only scored 64 points today. They had only 1 scorer reach over 15 points, and that was Jordan Poole with 19. The next leading scorer was Isaiah Livers with 10. So they didn't have great offensive numbers, but they did what they wanted to do defensively. They kept Florida shooting poorly, although Florida was 50% at the end of the first half, left this game not shooting particularly well, and the Wolverines did what they had to do, with Florida ending their 3-point percentage with 35% and shooting 35% from the floor as well. So the Wolverines really controlled the pace of this game, and they did it with their defense.
Yeah, they locked it down. The final scoring leaders, Poole with 19 on a rough 5 of 15 from the field, but he hit some big shots late and had some shots when Michigan needed them.
And the big thing, Jordan Poole got to the line as well.
Yep. He was 5 of 5 from the line. Livers 10 points on a couple dunks late, primarily 4 of 8 from the floor, but only 1 of 4 from 3. Teske 8 on 4 of 7. Matthews 9 on 4 of 10. Brisdakis 5 on 2 of 8. So pretty well distributed in terms of scoring. Eli Brooks had 4 points on 2 of 2 from the field and was a rock defensively when he was in the game. Really big performance by him. For Florida, Jalen Hudson, the only Gator player to reach double figures. 11 points on 4 of 15 from the field. Nemhart, 2 of 7 from the field with 4 turnovers, just wiped off the map by the Michigan defense. Noah Locke, who's a dead-eye shooter, held to 3 of 11 from the field on 8 points. This was probably the best defensive effort by Michigan in a long time.
Yeah, in a very long time. And we saw this defense early against tough offensive teams like North Carolina and Purdue. We saw it again here against the Florida Gators. So a big performance by the Wolverines. They're going to have a tough next game with either Buffalo or Texas Tech. So if they want to continue this trend, they got to play the way they did today defensively.
And if you hear that cheer in the background, it's the Minnesota Gophers coming onto the floor. That game coming up in a little while. But for this one, from Andy Laidlaw, Nate Sorensen, Alex Drain saying good night and go blue from Des Moines.